Good evening, everybody. This is Priestess Mareesha of the Doula Rebel LLC, and I am here because I wanted to start pretty much the conversation around my healing journey, as well as, of course, what a lot of people say their spiritual journey, and pretty much what brought me here to become a hoodoo practitioner as well as a birth worker. And now a student, of course, of Haitian voodoo. So I guess I can start here. So for me, for my personal experience, I've always wanted to be a doula. Well, for one, I've always wanted to do anything that was centered around babies. For a very long time, I wanted to be an OBGYN. And then I ended up switching over to more of a public health look at it with work. And I also realized I just didn't have the best relationship with biology and science in college science classes. So even though some of them were fun, you can miss me with the biology program. But either way, me wanting to go into that type of work has been there since I was like 19 years old. I'm going to be 32 next month. So the love of helping people came before, of course, when I started healing. However, prior to me, doing my healing work as well as working with my ancestors, there were a lot of detours and obstacles that were in the way of me being able to do that. And one of those things was work and money. It was hard for, an independent woman right out of college to not only afford, just being able to take care of herself in a city that was not nice to students. I went to school in Washington, D.C., but it was another thing to be able to afford being able to take like $1,000 trainings and then being able to pay people to shadow under and things like that. So becoming a birth worker was a bit of a dream deferred in a way. I didn't like to admit that to a lot of people, that I was always fearful that I would never truly become the birth worker that I really wanted to be, because it just felt like, things was just so hard. Everything was just making it harder and harder. Things that I thought were simple were becoming hard, so it at some point it even made me feel like, am I really supposed to be doing this, or is this like a dream deferred? Do I need to wait, until I have a husband who I can, at least try to financially depend, that's already an issue within itself, that I'm waiting on a man to come around. But that was real. That was my reality way before I started on my journey. So fast track, of course, to now, or I should say around maybe October 2019, I think I can fast track that. So I went through a tough time around that. My family, of course, was struggling through some things that we were going through that, of course, was affecting me, because I live away from my family. So much that I was hearing came from, what I was hearing on the phone, and the stuff that I was hearing just wasn't that great. So I'm already struggling with that. And then I ended up in a domestic dispute or incident with an ex-boyfriend of mine, which of course resulted in me having to get a restraining order, and in some ways having to suffer through like a mild form of, PTSD. And I fell into a depression. And at that point, I would say I was just in a real spiritual deficit. I just went through a lot around that time. And I was trying my best to hold it together because my environment didn't necessarily support the reality that I was going through. It supported the image that I felt like I needed to uphold. And it wasn't until, of course, I got into therapy that I realized that real work needed to be done. So of course, for like the first 3 months in therapy, I'm just trying to get used to, creating a safe space for myself in regards to feel like there was a place for me to even speak my truth. I've always wanted to go to therapy. I just, again, couldn't afford it. Wasn't able to afford it. But then again, I don't think that I was necessarily in a place to where I felt vulnerable enough to actually have the right conversations that needed to be had. And so therapy came at the time when I just couldn't lie anymore. To say that I have it all when I knew that I just did not have the tools to work through the issues that I had. So there was a moment of surrendering that had to happen for me just to even sign up for that. And around the same time, of course, I started watching tarot readings on YouTube. And most of them were like celebrity tarot readings. And I kind of use it as like a little great escape for me to get a little dose of spiritual tea or divine tea, as Miss Wisdom of Life Light says. She's also on YouTube. But what was really interesting was that I had ran across like one of the like celebrity tarot readings, and it was by the 3 Hoodoo sisters. And you actually gonna hear me name drop a lot, especially when I go through my journey. So mainly because these were like people who I felt divinely guided to in order to sit and watch a video or follow them or get any type of information. So if they, of course, were any type of help to me, I know that it can definitely be help to you. So get ready for a lot of name dropping that may happen as I talk about my journey. And what was really funny was that she had mentioned while she was reading, was like, you know what, let's ask what their ancestors feel about this. And so in the back of my mind, I was just like, wait, you can ask your ancestors this? Like, they care? I had no clue. I had absolutely no clue that they even gave a fuck about like what we were doing down here on Earth. So I guess that could kind of got my, ringing a little light bulb, like, well, if they have all these things to say, I was never truly close to family like that. I didn't grow up with a lot of my extended family. It was mostly my parents and, of course, 2 of the brothers I was raised with. So the idea to use spirituality to contact family, it was, it wasn't something that I thought about, especially when it came to tapping into the elders or the ancestors that passed on. Because again, by the time I came around, a lot of them had either already passed on, or they were, had reached their senior to the point to where they weren't as active with me, say if they were active with like my other siblings. So long story short, I actually ended up tapping into who is named now Melanated Crowns around last year. And so there was an offering of this this reading where it was kind of like a 12-month forecast. And so and this is around like right when Corona had just, or I'm sorry, the Panini had just happened, and I had promised myself that if God, if this is an opportunity for me to just be at home, and I think around the time it was like we was getting like the tax refund and like the stimulus check, and so I just remember telling God, like, if I get this money and I do this right, something's going to move forward for me when I'm at home. Like, I'm going to take a doula training. I just started speaking it. And so around that time, I did the 12-month forecast. And as she was speaking, I was doing a reading. It was just like, I couldn't, I understood what was being said, but what was sticking out to me, that I felt like this was something I'd already been through. I was like, why does it sound the same? Why does it sound like, a repeat of, because I feel like I've been at the altar a few times. Like, why do I feel like everything that she's saying is something that happened to me 3 years ago, 2 years ago? And so it was something about I think around like 11th month, where she was saying that I was, going to start working with my ancestors and things like that. And so when we got to the end of the reading, and of course she asked me how did I feel about it, and I told her, of course, how I felt and how it just sounded like, these were some of the things that I may have already went through. And so she was like, well, this is like a 12-month forecast into what your life will be like if you choose not to make any changes. So like, if you were to leave, get off this phone and not make any changes to your life, this is what's going to end up happening. However, if you start working with your ancestors, then you will start seeing forward movement in the places that you desire to see. So at that point, that's when the light bulb came up. And that was literally when the light bulb came up. It was something about knowing that I had the power to change my situation. Knowing that I didn't have to repeat the same cycles that I did. And that there were things that if I really wanted to see them ushering in, I do have a spiritual team that can help me. That was something I knew that I needed to take into consideration. It was something that, of course, it was unfamiliar to me, but it was something I knew that I needed to try something. I needed to try something new. I needed to find a way to bring my faith back. I needed to find a way to determine that this wasn't the end of the road for me when it came to reaching certain successes that I truly believed that I deserved to come into. I didn't feel like I was asking for a lot. I was just asking for a chance and an opportunity. And so that's when I made the decision to intentionally start working with my ancestors. So, of course, going back to the 3 Hoodoo sisters, who actually was able to post a video around what, the things that you need in order to build an ancestor altar. And if I actually can find the video of hers, I will try my best to put it down in the description box, so everyone will be able to have access to it. But I've been intentionally working with my ancestors, and literally ever since then, not only have I been able to complete my doula trainings, but I've also been able to have the money to pay for them myself. And then not only that, they have been able to give me the money to take my own vacation, beach vacation, internationally. They've been able to provide me money in order to pay for mentorship. they have been, able to provide funds to where, I am still a tithe payer. I pay tithes and offerings, so I don't forget that part either. I'm covering all fronts, all the way down to birthday gifts on time, and being able to participate in more activities that I never thought I had the money for, or just the means to make it work, to balance out projects that before working with them, I just did not have the capacity, constantly in burnout, feeling like I'm being, just alone. And with working with my ancestors, I don't feel alone anymore. I don't feel like I'm having to do all of these things by myself anymore. They are a shoulder to lean on when I can't figure a lot of things out, or they will be able to send someone to me or guide me to somebody who will be able to answer those questions. And working with my ancestors has been literally the best decisions I ever made. And I see working with them as a true gift, because I believed that they will be able to move me forward. And that's one thing that I feel like, just in general, when it comes to healing, and I probably will make a separate video around what it means to truly believe in your healing and the effects of what happens when you're not putting the same emotional investment into your healing than you should, or what you expect other people to. But it's been a beautiful relationship that's been built. It does take a level of obedience and a level of surrendering in order to truly be in a space to be divinely guided. And in some ways, of submission. And it's not meaning that like I am just this broken servant of my ancestral collective, but then that means, but I am willing to allow myself to put myself out the way, to put my ego in check, so that I can receive what it is that I need to receive. And that comes with time, patience, and being able to learn how to work, with your shadow side, how to work with your 5D self, learning about your ancestors, and also what it is that they want you to learn and to heal from, so that you can not only heal, but change the trajectory of your bloodline. Because you'll be even surprised that a lot of the things that we are healing from, our parents may have went through, our grandparents may have went through, our great-grandparents have been through. So you may think that you're only healing situations that happen within your experience, life experience, when sometimes you may just be healing the life experiences of 3 generations that came before you. You may heal your a bloodline simply by choosing to get married, like marrying your spouse, choosing to go to college, choosing not to go into business with shicey people just because they're your friends. You'll be surprised what types of behaviors, even as small as certain things like that, can be passed down. And so within myself, there were a lot of things that I had to highlight in terms of generational patterns that couldn't come with me. That my ancestors said that we're not going to see another generation. We're not going to see any more descendants going through these issues. So somebody has to stop. Somebody has to change the narrative for those who come around it. Things just isn't what is. And we have to stop allowing our ego and our surroundings to believe that we can't expect more. And that we can't find our healing, or that we don't have the ability to heal, and or there are things that are keeping us from doing that. No, it's not. Our ancestors are here to tell us that we definitely have a choice to stay, and if we choose, to stay in it, I mean, that's just a choice we made. But if we're going to choose to come out of it, they're there to help. So I will definitely be spending a lot of time speaking about the different lessons and experiences my ancestors put me through, and how I was able to come out of it, and how of course I want to continue to partner with you all around how I was able to, move past a lot of these things, so that I can, be the best Mareesha that I've turned into today. I love myself. And that was something that I was not able to say last year. So I thank my ancestors for allowing me to see the beauty in me too. All right, friends. So, of course, my name is Priestess Mareesha, and of the Doula Rebel LLC, and I will definitely be back for more conversations. Of course, being able to upload a reading for the Divine Collective. And if you, of course, want to contact me for any of my services, all of that is located in the description box. And so until next time, and I will see you guys later. Bye.